right, more legal talkers right now. A warning for Lindsay Lohan that involves jail. A deputy who arrested Mel Gibson gets the go-ahead to sue, and a change in the restraining order involving Chris Brown and Rihanna. Our legal guys are back. Civil rights attorney Avery Friedman in Cleveland, Richard Herman, and New York criminal defense attorney joining us from Las Vegas. Okay, gentlemen, Avery, you first. The judge says, Lindsay, you are going to jail. But does Keith Schwartz actually mean this?
Well, Judge Schwartz has an enormous amount of pressure on him. I mean, I served on the bench at one time. I'm a former probation officer, so I'm both looking at both the crime here as well as the obvious probation violation. Very complicated. She is going to jail. The question is how long and where, which I think is very, very complicated here.
Okay, so Richard, you know, what can her attorneys do, her defense attorneys do, to either make it an impossibility that she will not go to jail, that maybe there'll be some other kind of deal they can cut?
Good.
No, there's no other deal they can cut, and I disagree with Avery. It's not that complicated. She's on probation, and she's pleading guilty now to another crime during the probation period. It's automatic.
Right.
Any other citizen goes to prison for this, Fred. Any other citizen. This judge is going to have to put her if she takes the plea deal. Now, she can go to trial, and if she loses the trial, she's going to get substantially more prison time. The only thing her lawyer can do now is put her in massive therapy and try to bring those records to the attention of the judge and say she's addressing her problem, she's a troubled person, judge. Prison's not going to do it for her. But I think it's too late for that. People have had enough of her.
She's going to jail,
She's absolutely going to go to prison here.
Okay, let's move on to Mel Gibson now. And this is a case of a police officer saying the sheriff and Mel Gibson were good friends, and that sheriff instructed this police officer to kind of remove any kind of anti-Semitic material. The allegations that Mel Gibson uttered these words. This police officer is supposed to remove it from the police report, and he says, I've got a big problem with that, Richard. And he's actually suing now.
Well, he's suing because he's suing for retaliation and discrimination and everything else against the sheriff's department there. And the sheriff's department brought a motion to dismiss. The judge denied it. That means there are viable questions of fact to go to a trial at this point in time. Look, this sounds ridiculous to me. If they wanted him to sanitize that report, whoever directed him to do that, they have to be investigated, maybe prosecuted. It's just really a tragic situation there. Guy's trying to do his job. It's not right, Avery.
So, Avery, you know, Sheriff Baca says throw this out.
Yeah, well, that was for procedural reasons. This case is all about me. Well, it's about James Me is the name of the guy, and he's the deputy. And the fact is that after he was told to remove the 4 pages of the police report, what happened, he claims in the case, is that he was denied promotions, his bank records were subpoenaed, his home computer was taken. I mean, he's got a very dramatic case. But again, the burden is on him. All that happened this week was a procedural decision, Frederica. So there much remains to be done, but it's a very, very interesting
tip of the iceberg.
Case.
Okay, also staying in California, Chris Brown, Rihanna, there was a restraining order. It has since been lifted, but there are still some conditions. Richard, what does this mean? And at the root here is that he wants to be able to be in some public events where she may happen to be as well. So give me an idea what kind of conditions still remain, what restrictions, if any.
I'm really troubled by this decision. I'm troubled by it, Fred, and I'll tell you why. The decision says he can't bother her. He can be near her, but he can't bother. What does that mean? What happens if she has a bad day and she decides that, oh, he's looking at me funny?
She was allegedly beaten pretty badly by him, and that's where this restraining order...
very badly.
That's at the root.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very badly, and now it's been lifted, so they can be in the same room with each other, but he can't, quote, bother her. That's bad language for a decision. It's just going to fraught with big problems for him. He's got to stay away from her until the end of the probation.
So, Avery, is that because, you know, we're talking about 2 very public figures and their jobs, their careers certainly put them in the spotlight where they may be sharing the spotlight, being in the same arena?
Yeah, this is only in Hollywood, Frederica. What Chris Brown was looking for is to get to the Grammys, which are now over, but other award ceremonies. He wants to be there. And again, this is so unique to Los Angeles. And what's going to happen, and I absolutely agree with Richard. The fact is, there are all sorts of problems. If Rihanna makes a complaint, this guy's going to be in a world of trouble. The smart thing to do, if I represented Chris Brown, is finish your probation. He's got about 3.5 more years to go. Stay away. He'll be fine.
Interesting. All right, Avery, Richard, always good to see you. Gentlemen, thanks so much.
Okay.
Have a
I
great
saw
rest
your
of the
interview
weekend.
with
See you soon.
Amon. It was great. She has
She's
nothing on you.
fabulous.
You're our
Absolutely
super anchor mom,
Right,
Fred.
I'm believing that one.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
number
she
one.
is amazing. Brilliant, smart, wise, all that, and beautiful to boot. Killer. All right, Richard, Avery, thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right, here's a question for you. Is your state in deep financial trouble? Find out if yours makes the top 10 right after this.